Good morning and welcome to Morning at NTV. My name is Idris Matu and this is Everyday Life. Now, every Tuesday we talk about money. And if you have been following our conversation, today is Money Tuesday and the topic is loans. Loans. You know, once in a while you need more money, which you do not have, and you find yourself that you need to take a loan. But we are here to dissect and explain when, why, when, how, everything to do with loans. And I have in studio, usual suspect, Mr. Ronald Mukasa. You are welcome, sir.
Oh, thank you. How are you?
Good. Now, loans. What is a loan?
I think when you think about a loan is, there are two ways you can put money into your business.
Yeah.
One of the ways you can put your money into your business is putting your own money. It's usually called equity. The other way you can put money into your business is by getting someone else's money. Now, when you go to a bank, when you go to a circle, when you go to a money lender, and you borrow money, and you put it into your business, and you use it to buy assets, you use it to pay your workers, that way of putting money into your business is what we call a loan.
Today, we are discussing bank loans.
Yes.
Not loans from these street vendors,
Exactly.
but a bank loan.
Yes.
And the first question would be, when should I get a bank loan?
I think when you think about a bank loan, the best place to start actually before, as you think about a loan, is whose money does a bank lend?
Yeah.
One of the important things which you need to observe is the bank is lending money for depositors. Largely, that's the money which is lending. So that means everyone who puts money into the bank, they lend that money back to the depositor. So as you take a bank loan, you have to reflect and ask yourself, what would happen if me as a depositor, I fail to find my money in the bank? You put a deposit in the bank and you don't find it. So they have lent it to someone else. So the reason why the bank looks for the money with a lot of energy is largely because it is actually depositors' money. So when you think about when you should take a loan, there are two reasons why you go to the bank. One of them is opportunity. The second one is crisis. So you are either going there because of a big opportunity. You have got a contract and you don't have enough money to service that contract. So you run to the bank to support you in the contract. There is an expansion plan for your business. There are markets which want your product, but you can't be able to supply them. That's opportunity. You go to the bank to help you in that opportunity. But the second one is crisis. Actually, you have reached the end of the halfway the month and you don't have money. You don't have money to pay your landlord. You don't have money to pay your workers. You don't have money to service a supplier. That is another reason why you get a loan. You get a loan because actually there is a crisis which has happened. Possibly you have run out of cash and you need money urgently. Now the question which you have to ask yourself when you're taking a loan, am I taking this one for opportunity or for crisis? And you'll find that crisis loans tend to be relatively expensive because you need them. You absolutely need them right now.
You're desperate.
You are desperate for them. And they seem to be a bit bigger because opportunity loans are those loans which the future is so bright, the opportunity is so big that you can be able to make a very big profit off them and be able to pay the bank and also make a decent profit for yourself.
Now,
so
you mentioned
either opportunity or crisis.
You mentioned about having a crisis whereby at the end of the month, I don't have salary, I don't have rent, I don't have basic money to spend for food and all that. Do those circumstances, do they justify a bank loan? Or should I consider probably getting a loan from a friend or something?
I think usually by the time people go to the bank, they have exhausted all these simple sources. You have borrowed from your wife.
but there are some people who will not even think about first talking to the friends and the neighbors, but they go straight to the bank.
And that's
even
true.
for like 400,000 shillings.
Exactly. I think by the time you go to the bank, you need to have carefully asked yourself, will I be able to repay this money? You need to have carefully asked yourself, are there alternatives to this? Sometimes you have supplied goods to someone and they haven't yet paid, but you are in the bank borrowing money instead of collecting the money which your customer has. So that is something which you need to reflect on.
Okay, so away from having the opportunity and also probably being in a crisis, what are some of the basic things I need to consider before even like going out to get a bank loan? What are those important listed things that I need to consider and say, okay, if these things are ticked off, then I can go for a bank loan?
I think when you think about a bank loan, the first thing you need to think about is it is going to be repaid with an interest. So that means that if I take 1 million, chances are I will pay back 1.2 million. So that's the first thing, or even more. So you want to ask yourself, is the opportunity I am trying to chase, will it be able to cover that interest and also give me a fair return? Because chances are high that if the opportunity I'm chasing, the contract I have, I take 1 million shillings, I go and supply and make 1.5 million shillings, it's okay to pay 200 to the bank. But if I go and supply and then I make 1.1 and I pay 200 to the bank, that means that actually that opportunity, I have lost money on it because I have paid out more to the bank than actually I have kept. So you have to ask yourself, first of all, what is that interest that I need to repay? And then secondly, do I have the capacity to repay? Many times when you take a loan, things in the future seem to be simpler. Especially, let's say you're taking a loan out of crisis. You are saying, if I take the loan right now, I will solve this immediate crisis and the future will be okay. But soon you notice that you have actually created a crisis because 1 month down the road, money needs to be. So you need to ask yourself, you need to have a bit of pessimism when you are taking a loan. You are saying, what is the worst case scenario? What if I am actually unable to repay? What alternatives do I have? So the capacity to repay is very important. Yes, you have made a supply as but do the current cash flows which you have, are they sufficient to pay for the what? For the loan? Because what if your customer doesn't pay? Or actually they're unhappy with the product you have supplied? So you need to ask yourself, in the worst case scenario, will I be able to
pay
repay
it back?
Because the absence of that discussion at the point of taking the loan takes away, because when you have the loan, now you have an obligation. You can no longer walk back and say, I didn't know what I was doing. You have the obligation right now. Yes. So you need to be very careful and be hard on yourself. And you see, usually when people are going for loans, that is the time when a bit of all reason goes out of the window. Someone tells you, have you thought about it? You don't know, this is the best thing. This is the very, very best thing.
I have to do this.
I have to do this. And
it's now or never.
Exactly.
It's,
I can't miss this opportunity. So you need to ask yourself tough questions. And those tough questions have to be asked before you actually take the loan.
Well, I have taken the loan. And usually they give us periods on when you have to pay back the loan and what time you have and the interest. What are the things I should keep out for during the loan period, and the things I should not do and the things I should do?
I think at the start of the loan period, first of all, understand the terms of your loan very well. What exactly are the terms? What is the repayment date on your loan? When does a penalty set in? It means that if you don't repay on that day, do they give you a time of grace of 4 days before the penalty sets in? If the penalty sets in, how much is that penalty when it sets in? All these questions, you need to understand them at the start. And during the loan period, ensure that you are making timely payments. Nothing is more dangerous. Sometimes you need to make sure that the loan comes as a priority in your business, because the moment you actually don't make those timely payments, you do two things. First of all, you cause yourself an expense because of the penalty which has come in. But secondly, you ruin a good relationship with your banker. And that's why you find that many people will move from bank to bank. They ruin the relationship here, they go to the other bank, they ruin the relationship. So the point is that there are two things you are doing. Why you are paying on time is not just for today, because today the risk is there is a penalty which will come as a result of not paying in time. But secondly, that good relationship. Nothing is more important than the bank knowing, your bank manager being able to vouch for you and says that person always makes sure that the payments are made. So timely repayments are absolutely important. So sometimes you might also want to consider what are the implications of early repayment. Is that an option which actually exists in my loan contract? What if I actually get the money earlier? Can I be able to pay up my what? My loan. And what does that exactly mean? These are questions you need to ask your banker just before you get the loan, and understand them very well so that they help you during the loan period.
Well, so many times we can take a loan and crisis happens. Probably I'm not able to get the money in time. Probably the business does not work out. What do I do if I'm unable to pay off the loan?
Now, I think the first thing which you need to focus on is what exactly does crisis mean to your business? What does crisis mean to your personal finances? This could be a loss of a job. Let's say you are working, so you have lost the job, so you are unable to actually make your monthly repayments. If it's a business, you may go through a bad period and actually money is not being made. Now, the first thing which you need to do is to ensure that you are building a good relationship with your banker, to have the capacity to tell your banker. Usually the first person who you should tell about crisis is your banker. Unfortunately, in many cases, the banker is the last person who finds out, and the banker will panic. If he finds out that you lost your job 3 months ago and he didn't know, the banker will panic, and in his panic, he will pull out the toughest clauses in the contract. Yet if he's the first person to know, he can be the first to advise you that, all right, let's find out, you have been making a repayment of 1 million. What can you manage now? Then you'll say that possibly the truth is, best case scenario, I can only pay 300,000. Then he says, let us reschedule the loan in such a way so that you can be able to repay 300,000 every month. Now that is a discussion which is best had before the loan has gone bad, before you have made late repayments. Now sometimes people find out those options when actually they have been running from the banker for the last 6 months or the last 3 months. So one of the things, you don't want your banker to panic. And when there is crisis, the banks know that crisis happens in the economy, in people's personal lives. And what they need to do is, there are mechanisms banks have to be able to help you in that period. And if those mechanisms are kept, you can be able to weather the storm. And another thing which you need to think about is whether you have, what kind of advice do you need in that period? Which kind of legal advice? Because sometimes it is important to actually ask about, what are my rights in this loan, especially when crisis happens. What are my rights? I mean, for example, in most financial institutions, if someone dies when they have a loan, the loan has been insured against what? Against death. So if the person who has taken the loan, and usually it's personal loans, passes away, that loan has an insurance policy attached to it. And that insurance policy should come into action when that happens. Now the question is,
do you know about it?
And does your family know about it? And that's another important thing. Many times we take loans and you find that actually no one knows about the loan. Even your immediate family doesn't know that you're actually indebted to this level. So when someone comes and asks, says he took this loan, this is it, family assets have been taken, someone has passed on, and now the family is in crisis. Now sometimes you have to make sure that your family is well informed.
Your family knows. Well,
yes.
We are talking loans, and I'm just going to allow one phone call. The number is going to be on your screen, which you can call and ask about managing a bank loan. Only one question, because we are running out of time. And as we wait for that phone call, I'm done paying the loan, and it's done, it's clear. What should I do during that period? Should I go back for another loan? What are my expectations?
I think the true test of success in a loan is being able to say that I use this loan to buy equipment, I have paid off the loan, and the equipment is actually still working. That process there is important, because when you think about it, what the banker is looking for, what you're looking for as a person who has taken a loan, is to be able to have benefited from that loan and benefited completely. So after the loan, one of the things which you want to assess is, has the loan done what it actually was supposed to do? And that's one of the problems. Many times people take loans and they take them for something specific, and then they end up doing something completely different. And you find that at the end of the loan period, the objective of taking the loan was to possibly buy land where you are going to build
and
your
then
store.
You don't do it.
Then the land isn't there and the money isn't there.
Well, I think we need to get a phone call. Do we have a caller? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good morning, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning, sir.
Yes, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Namgongo. My name is Alex.
All right. What's your question?
Suppose you get a loan from a bank and your security is your salary. And then after that you...
And then after that
you lose a job.
Yes.
You are no longer getting the salary you are getting. How can you go about it? And then another thing, is there any possibility, if you have savings in NSSF?
Okay, thank you, sir. All right.
All right.
You had the gentleman.
Yeah, I think one of when you take a salary loan, a salary loan is usually your salary is what is going to be used to repay this loan, and they may be temporary gaps. So let's say you lose a job for about 6 months. That doesn't mean that you won't repay the loan. But what it means that you might want to get into a negotiation with your bank and tell them that, you know what, where I expected income, actually I am no longer earning. But if you give me 3 months, I should be able to.
So in other words, communicating to your bank.
Communicate to your bank.
Not waiting 3 months after you've lost the job. Then you tell them, hey, you know what? I lost the job 3 months ago.
Exactly.
So whenever it happens, whenever you get a crisis, you have to inform the bank.
Exactly.
What else?
Yeah, I think one of the other things which you need to think about when you think about the salary as security is, nowadays as a borrower, the worst thing which you want to be told about your borrowing is that actually you have been unable to repay, because now there is a credit reference bureau. That means that someone is tracking your performance. So even in the case of a loss of a job, the responsibility is still yours to make sure that you as a borrower, you have a good name. So even then, you might want to further go into negotiations and say, you know what, friends, I may need a bit of time, look for this money elsewhere and be able to repay. So we shouldn't look at it as now I've lost a job, you know what, I can't be able to
give up.
You need to make sure that...
Second question was about NSSF.
NSSF, I think NSSF is an interesting thing. There is a lot of debate going on, but currently you can't go and say I have 50 million in the bank and I borrow against it.
You don't use NSSF savings as security.
Yeah, as security, yes.
Yeah.
But you can use savings as security. You can use savings
away from NSSF.
Away from NSSF.
Because I had a client here from NSSF, and they were breaking down when you can actually withdraw your money.
Yes.
And those rules are clear, and one of them is when you have actually retired.
Yes.
So people see all their bank balances from NSSF, and they're like, I have all this money here. Why can't I use it?
Why can't I pick it?
But there are rules.
The rules are clear.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't save in NSSF, but you can save in other places. And sometimes if you have a savings account with a bank, or you have bought a treasury bill, for example, you can use that as security for a loan which you are taking. So sometimes the other question is, if I can't use NSSF savings, can I be creating savings in another place where I can be able to use them to borrow? Actually, when you think about it, when you think about SACCOs, for example, the SACCO concept is that your savings are part of your security. Most SACCOs will be able to give you 3 times the amount you have saved. What that means is that you have used your savings as a bit of the security for the loan which you have taken.
Well, it's been amazing talking about how to manage a bank loan.
Yes.
And I guess at the end of the day, we just need to be careful. Like, do you really need the loan or you don't? And we talked about crisis and opportunity, but not rushing the process.
Exactly.
Well, to continue the conversation, go to our website, which is www.ntv.co.ug, or our social media platforms, that is on Facebook, Twitter, and look out for Morning at NTV or NTV Uganda. You can talk to me directly at Idris Matu. That is spelled EDRISMATU. Tell me, what do you want to see on the show? What are your concerns? And I'll communicate. I'll bring whoever you want. And probably next Tuesday, if you have money issues, talk to me again. Tell me, what are some of the questions that you want Mr. Ronald here to answer? Well, coming up is Mwasuzemtia. Have a very wonderful good morning.